We'll talk about the xylem and phloem in your online lesson 3. So here's a look at your leaf that we looked at before, but we're looking at only one part of it at a time. So here's a cuticle. It's a layer of wax across the surface of a leaf. It prevents water loss by evaporation, and it's transparent to allow light into the cell. The vein has specialized cells arranged in tubes. Some carry water, some carry minerals, and others carry glucose to other parts of the plant. You're allowed to stop this video anywhere you want to take some notes, or screenshots, remember the important things. The guard cell, they surround the stomata. We'll look at it in more detail, but they change their shape to open and close the stomata. The stomata are tiny holes in the lower surface of the leaves. They're located in the bottom of the leaf. They allow gas in and out. A single hole is called a stoma, and the plural is stomata because it's Latin. How fun! The epidermis is a protective layer of cells. They're transparent to let light through the cells below. Leaves have an upper and lower epidermis. The palisade, as we talked about before, filled with closely packed palisade cells. Lots of chloroplasts. Called a palisade because it's like a medieval castle wall. The spongy section contains air spaces. This allows gases to diffuse between the stomata and the palisade cells. The plant needs carbon dioxide to come in and oxygen to go out. Those are different parts of the leaf that we talked about previously, but I thought we went through those very quickly last time. How do gases enter and leave the plants? On the other side, there's your stoma, right? We talked about before. Now, this is the part we talked about very quickly before, but it's very slow. Guard cells gain water, they curve outwards. This allows the stoma to let gases in and out. Losing water causes the guard cells to come close together, closing the stoma. This stops the movement of gas, but also prevents the water loss. Now, let's talk about xylem and phloem. This is about the xylem. Water and dissolved minerals are transported by a specialized tissue called the xylem. The common feature of a vascular plant is you have root hairs. They give the root a large surface area for water uptake. The water will travel through the cortex. And it's really relatively undifferentiated parenchyma cells. That's what they call them. And the center is the stele. So you have the stele, the cortex, where you have your parenchyma cells. Common features of vascular plant, they move through pores or pits in elongated tracheid cells, while vessel elements with perforated end plates join end-to-end to form continuous vessels. The sclerenchyma fibers provide support. So you have the sclerenchyma fibers to provide support. Then you have the tracheid, which are elongated cells that help the water move through. And the vessel elements with these perforated means holes, they join to form a continuous vessel. This is the leaf we talked about before. You have vascular bundles surrounded by a mesophyll. They contain the air spaces we talked about, which allows the stomata, the plant, and gas exchange. Now, here are some other things about vascular plants. You have tubers, which are potatoes. They're basically roots. They store sugars by converting them to starch. The tuber grows as a plant is synthesized, but breaks down again to provide sucrose when it's needed for growth. So when it's growing, it stores it in the tubers and the root. The phloem looks sort of like the xylem. You consider sieve tubes. They're supported by a companion cell because the sieve tube lacks organelles. And it lacks organelles, and companion cells provide that function. But the sieve tube must lack organelles to allow sap to move more easily. Sclerenchyma fibers provide support again. The fruit will store the sugars, converting them to starch, kind of like a tuber. But unlike the tuber, they do not provide energy for the growing plant. They provide energy for the daughter plant and attract animals that distribute the seeds. So the fruit has a starch around the seed. When it falls off the plant, the starch around the seed will rot. The seed will germinate, and there's their food. Here are different parts of the system. The sieve tube, transporting sugars. The companion cells provide energy and support to sieve tube cells. The vessel elements are water transport cells that form continuous vessels in higher plants. Sclerenchyma provides support. Plasmodesmata are pores connecting cytoplasm on neighboring cells across cells' walls, which wasn't in any of the presentation, but now it is. And the trachea is a narrow, elongated cell for transporting water in all vascular plants. Learn it, love it, live it. Here's what it looks like. Here's your sieve tube element. Here's your vessel element. The companion cell next to it, all located in the stem. Then you have your root with the root hair, the cortex, and then the cell in the very center.